Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is Migoy from Too Much Gaming, and we're continuing this train of toy reviews made possible by the gracious folks over at Great Toys Online. Today, we'll be taking a look at a figure from Bandai Tamashii Nations' Robot Damashii / Robot Spirits line with the GM Type C version anime, which made its debut in the Gundam 0083 Stardust Memories series. Initial impressions on this guy are very strong, as the design goes for a more sleek, slender, athletic, and almost human-like approach to the proportions, as opposed to the more blocky aesthetic of the line art and model kit variants. This of course is due to the figure being part of the version anime subline, anime standing for Action, New, Imagination, Memory, Emotion, which gives emphasis to having more animation-accurate sculpting and bonus effect parts.
Articulation on this man, this expendable man, is the modern good stuff, you know. As expected of the Robot Damashii line, you got your ball-jointed head. It's not really hindered by anything, and be careful with this, kids. It's very fragile, both this and this, as says so on the instructions. But simple ball socket. I don't think this one on top really likes to move, but at the very least, there's not a lot of armor getting in the way of the head rotation, so he can just kind of do whatever he wants. He can even like look backwards. I don't know if the robot can do that, but their action figure surely can. What they told about in the, look at that, fuck chest muscles, yeah brother, yeah. In the instructions is that the range of his shoulders and, as you can see, front of the chest is like so diverse, and yet like it looks supernatural too, up until you see the actual movement. But like he can swing his arms forward, and as you can see on top, not only can you raise the arm like so, the hinge can add some extra super crazy doing an X-Man pose sort of stuff like that, to do all types of dynamic. I can reach my beam saber, and then I can smell myself. No, just kidding. But yeah, there's a lot going on with the playability, and it moves so natural that it's just, you know, it's almost second nature to just mess around with this guy. Shoulder pad is on a little hinge. Doesn't move all that much outside of this, but the way it's designed is nothing is gonna really get in the way of anything else, so that's really good. Shoulder hinge is your standard, you know, swingy outie with the peg that makes it go all the way around. Bicep cut, double jointed elbow, goes in pretty darn deep. You got your ball jointed wrists, which is for, you know, swapping hands. The ball is right there. Hands are of the rubbery plastic variety. There's a little bit of a hinge in there too, which makes it a little annoying to put the hands in, but it makes it so that he can hold his weapons in a lot of various ways. Waist is, oops, well, we'll get to that later. We'll leave the skirt off. But the waist is a pivot with a really nice deep bend. You can see the little tramp stamp Bandai logo on the back. For the deep stomach cut, that is really nice. Very nice there. All the hip armor is on like little ball joints. As you can see, one of the side skirts pop because, well, like it doesn't really get in the way. It can snag if you're moving something, and that, like, don't worry, it's not broken. It's just on a ball joint. You can easily snap it together. But the reason why I'm leaving it off here is, as you can see on the hip area, there's a little peg over there. There's a little pin. I don't know if it's a pin disc. There's a I don't know what to call that, little joint piece that lets the hip swing downwards to do like a super mega high kung fu style little heel kick nonsense, which is mega neat. And if you're wondering if the hip skirt armor will get in the way, it does not. Well, at least, you know, to that degree, but you can't ask for much. If you wanted to do a mega kick, just pretend like the hip skirt is there as he's kicking a fool. The hip itself is on a like nice ball joint with a deep enough cut to let it go really darn full, almost the full Van damage, if you would even consider that. Like that's pretty much a full Van damage to me. Of course, you can with the added, without like even pivoting, the leg can still, you know, do that. It's just that with the hinge, it can go the extra mile. It's super appreciated, especially for dynamic posing and stuff like kneeling poses, which the GMs do if you pose them with like bazookas and junk. Let's stick the front skirt back on and be careful not to pop it. Double jointed knee, super gorgeous. Goes in real darn deep, just the way I like it. No, I guess the thigh. There's no real thigh cut because the way the connection point is designed is this does not allow room for it to move due to its shape. But I'd say the size of the ball joint gives it for like a really ample enough movement, more than you'll ever need. And yeah, like I said, double jointage is great. The foot is on a double ball joint, which is one on top of the ankle and one on the bottom of the ankle. Words, man. The top part is really expressive in the kind of ways I would ask for, giving you a really dynamic, wide stance on the man. The bottom, not as expressive, but functional enough to give you a little bit of extra, you know, bendage in case you needed some super robot-y, fist-fighty, punchy, action-y nonsense. Yo, I'm gonna beat you up, man. That's real nice. Oh, man, modern robot Damashii. Not to say that they haven't been good, because they were always good. But these newer ones are so much better than the previous line of figures, and I guess that's just part of the whole anime subline that they have going on with this, which aside from getting all the special effects, you get some extra posability that may not have existed if there is an older version of this. I mean, they sort of emphasize the posing. Look at this boy. Look at that powerful stance on this grunt unit who you probably, when you shoot in the leg, he just explodes.
I failed to mention this during the articulation segment, but the neck does have a hinge that allows the head to look straight up to pull off a lot of those Universal Century space flight poses. Toy engineering has come a long way from elbowless Kenner Batman toys of ye old. Just look at what they've done that allows the leg to bend as far as it can. The calf features a spring-loaded section that is made to compress the further you bend in the knees. That is just... ugh! These are the type of things I like to see. And while it may not look it, this guy can also hella toe. For being in a standard-sized RD box, this thing is loaded to the brim with accessories. The figure comes with the standard armament of beam saber, bullpup machine gun, shield, and the sometimes omitted hyper bazooka. And in typical RD fashion, a wide array of hand options for holding weapons in various poses. The box even comes with something I have not seen before, at least not on older RD releases, and that is a storage rack to hold all the hands that the figure comes with. Only one beam saber hilt can be found on the GM Type C, which can be stored comfortably on the backpack. But if you have the means to display it all sabered out, you have the option to use one of two beam effects: a blazing straight beam or a flaming curved slash beam. These are really fun to mess with and allow for a slew of creative posing options. Both are easy enough to attach and neither poses any real weight issue. To avoid potential breakage, the antenna that connects to the head of the GM is attached in packaging. Bandai was kind enough to include a pair of these in the event that one gets lost or snaps. They plug in securely to the back of the GM's cranium, though I advise popping the head off the body before attempting to connect one of these. The shield is your typical giant protective plate with a nice tampographed Federation logo decoed below the blast visor. It comes with two adapters that allow it to connect to the forearm either underslung or mounted on the side. A third adapter is present for storing the shield on the GM's backpack. The shield also has a detachable handle for added stability or as an alternate means of display. As far as primary weapons go, the figure comes with a bullpup machine gun and a hyper bazooka. The bullpup is a nicely molded solid piece that comes with a storage clip that pegs on a concealed panel found on the side of the backpack. The Hyper Bazooka is a bit of an odd piece as it features more moving parts than you'd expect. The handle itself is on a hinge to allow for the GM to wield it without the risk of breakage. The pivoting center scope looks to be there more to move out of the way when stored on the butt clip so that it doesn't clash with anything else back there. Lastly are a pair of clear thruster boost effects. These can be plugged into every visible vernier found on the GM, namely any of the 4 thrusters found on the backpack, the 2 on his butt, and any of the 4 on the bottom of his feet. Now that's a lot of boost power. Fully equipped and this expendable boy is looking pretty boss. I always appreciate when a robot can be displayed with all of their weapons on their person. The added bulk just gives the silhouette a more commanding and powerful appearance. The Robot Damashii GM Type C version anime is a gorgeous piece of modern toy design. Crazy dynamic and incredibly fun to pose with a vast array of accessories to go along with it. This little grunt does a lot more and then some. It may not be the high-end holy grail display piece in your collection, as the figure does have some pretty ugly exposed seam lines, namely on the thighs and forearms, but by no means does it detract from the overall quality of this guy. It does so much so well on so many different grounds that it's hard to fault without being nitpicky. A definite easy recommend to any Gundam fan out there. Thanks again to Great Toys Online for making this review possible, and if you'd like to purchase one of these for yourself or as a gift to a fellow Gundam fan this holiday season, head on over to greattoysonline.com to find great prices on great toys.